In July of 2014, I got the opportunity to meet Sandie Gerken of Dagsboro. Sandie's parents once owned the Clayton Theater there. Sandie talked a lot about growing up in the theater with her sisters and cousins. Now, Sandie was a wealth of knowledge when it came to Sussex County history. In fact, she has had a lifelong love of history and a passion for genealogy. Sandie wrote the book Memories of the Clayton Theater. In it, she shares her memories and the memories of others who remembered the theater when they were growing up in the 50s. Well, Sandie has written another book, and we are honored to have her join us this afternoon on Delmarva Live. Sandie, thanks for being here this afternoon.
Good afternoon, Lisa.
So it sounds like
good to see you again.
It sounds like you've been busy. The book is called Storied, Sussex, a collection of historical events and stories that have shaped Sussex County, Delaware. I had to look down to see, because that's a long title.
It is a long title.
Yeah, so tell us about it.
Well, the book is basically a compilation of historical articles that I had written originally for a small Sussex County newspaper called High Tide News. And High Tide News was discontinued in last October. So my publisher talked me into turning all those articles into a book, and which I have worked on, and it's kind of my baby, and I'm very, very proud of it. Yeah. But it includes stories about illustrious people, forgotten industries, Sussex County traditions, celebrations, big storms, shipwrecks. It's got murder, it's got mystery, it's got political intrigue.
It's got everything for a good book.
And more, yeah.
Yeah, so you became interested in history at a very young age, and that's because of your parents?
Yes. Well, basically, I think my sisters and I all learned the local lore almost through osmosis by riding the back roads of Sussex looking for the graves of elusive ancestors. My mom was a little bit interested in trying to find about past family and places where they lived. So we learned a lot of local history along the way. And as a result, have had a lifelong passion for genealogy, and through that research have amassed files and files of local history for Sussex County.
Yeah, and you enjoy that research.
I love it.
What is it about researching?
It's the thrill of the chase, really. It's like finding the pieces in a jigsaw puzzle. With the stories that I wrote for Storied, Sussex, I researched everything to death for each topic that I picked. I particularly the human angle. I brought my genealogy research skills in there, and
were there any stories that like stood out that you really surprised you when you were doing all this research?
Well, I was surprised by a number of them. I did write a story about a Sussex County woman who was hanged along with her son for murdering her brother. That murder went unsolved for 7 years.
Oh, wow.
And then they were hanged for that. I was surprised to find one thing about the Frankfort High School basketball team and winning the state championship in 1928. And I wrote all about that for High Tide News. Months after it had run, I discovered, looking through old newspaper archives, that in the 70s, sports writer for the News Journal had made a correction about that. And when I went back and looked at old sports articles, I found out that indeed Frankfort High School won the state championship in 1927, not 1928. Surprised me. I was flabbergasted, but I made the correction in the book.
Okay, so any projects in the horizon?
Well, you mean book writing?
Books?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, likely.
Yeah.
I've got about 40 more stories in my files.
Really?
About different people and different events and things about Sussex County. So if this book has favorable reviews and sells as well as it is doing right now, there'll probably be maybe a Storied Sussex 2, or perhaps a Storied Delaware with 3 sections, one for each county.
Oh, okay.
I also had written, in the book, there are 2 fictional stories, ghost stories, that I had written for my grandsons when they were very little. And I wove in Sussex County places and names of people in my own family. Changed to protect the guilty, really.
Right.
But I have more of those. So
Oh, well,
maybe, who knows?
Who knows? All
Yeah.
right. Sandie Gerken, author of Storied, Sussex. Thank you so much for joining us this
Thank you for having
afternoon.
me.
If you would like to learn more about Sandie and her books or to find out where you can get your copy, go to our website, delmarvalife.com.